Have you ever been in an online debate that just completely goes off the rails and turns into personal attacks? Yeah, that's not an accident. It's actually a strategy. Today, we are diving deep into one of the oldest and honestly one of the most powerful persuasion techniques in the book, name calling. It's a method that is specifically designed to bypass all logic and just win an argument by attacking the person, not their point. Okay, let's just strip this whole thing down to its bare essentials. At its core, it really boils down to this one simple, pretty brutal statement. This has nothing to do with evidence or reason. It's all about making a character judgment the entire foundation of an argument. And you know what? It's a shockingly effective way to just completely short-circuit a real conversation. So to really get how this works, we're going to break it down into 4 parts. First, we'll get a crystal clear definition. Then we'll look at some really high-stakes historical examples. After that, we'll bring it right into the present day with the kind of labels you see flying around online every single day. And finally, we'll uncover what the real goal of the attack actually is. All right, let's jump right into our first section. What exactly is name calling? Because it's so much more than a simple insult. It's a very calculated move. So here's the official definition for you. It's a technique where you slap a negative label on someone or something so that you don't have to deal with their actual ideas. You might have heard this called other things like labeling, or if you want to get technical, an ad hominem attack. But no matter what you call it, the goal is always the exact same. Shift the focus from what is being said to who is saying it. And this right here gets to the absolute heart of why it is so powerful. The specific word, the insult itself, doesn't matter nearly as much as the feeling it creates. The whole point is to plant this little seed of doubt, to imply that the target is so fundamentally flawed, morally, intellectually, whatever, that nothing they say could possibly be worth taking seriously. Okay, let's move on, because this is not a new thing. Not at all. Name-calling has been a cornerstone of propaganda for centuries, and often the stakes have been incredibly high. Just take a look at these 3 moments from the 20th century. They show you in vivid detail the devastating power of a simple label. In every single one of these cases, words were literally weaponized to rally populations, to justify absolutely horrific acts, and to silence anyone who dared to disagree. So during World War I, Allied propaganda didn't just talk about German soldiers. No, they were labeled Huns. That word, along with others like savages or brutes, it transformed them from human beings into these monstrous figures. And that, of course, made it way easier to get public support for the war effort. Then you have Nazi Germany, where the propaganda machine relentlessly, constantly labeled Jewish people as vermin or parasites. Now, this wasn't just a nasty insult. It was a strategic, deliberate act of dehumanization. By framing an entire group of people as less than human, it paved the way for stripping them of their rights and, ultimately, justifying atrocity on a massive scale. And then, in 1950s America, during the McCarthy era, the killer label was communist, or red. You didn't need any proof that someone was a traitor. Just the accusation, just the label itself, was enough to completely destroy a person's career, their reputation, their life. The label did all the heavy lifting, creating this powerful, suffocating atmosphere of fear. So, that's the history. But how have these exact same techniques just evolved for our time? Let's jump into our third section and explore the modern playbook, where the battlefield has shifted from posters and pamphlets to headlines and hashtags. I mean, let's be honest. Today, name-calling is absolutely everywhere. Politicians use these quick labels to dismiss their opponents in a single soundbite. News outlets frame entire stories with loaded, biased terms right in the headline. And, of course, social media, well, it's become the ultimate arena for rapid-fire labeling. And if you look closely, these modern labels aren't just random insults. They actually fall into some pretty distinct categories. You've got ideological shorthand to just jam someone into a box. You've got attacks on their motive to suggest they're corrupt. You have attacks on their sanity to just dismiss them as crazy. And of course, you've got slurs to just cast them out of the group entirely. For example, take a word like woke. It's pure ideological shorthand. It's a single word that's often used to dismiss an entire complex worldview. And what's the goal? End the conversation before it even has a chance to start. Or what about bot? This one attacks someone's very humanity. It basically says, you're not a real person with real thoughts. You're just a script. And, well, you don't argue with a machine, do you? Grifter. Now that's a moral attack. It completely dismisses someone's argument by claiming they don't even believe it themselves. They're just in it for the cash. Their character gets attacked, so their argument gets ignored. Simple. And labels like unhinged or delusional, those are sanity attacks. They cleverly reframe what is just a simple disagreement as some kind of psychological problem. I mean, why would you debate someone who's clearly unstable? It's a pure disqualification tactic. And, platforms develop their own unique slang. Calling someone chronically online is a way to dismiss their entire perspective as being totally disconnected from the real world. It's basically a group slur for the digital age, designed to mark them as an outsider whose opinion doesn't count. So we've seen the what, the when, and the how. Now it's time for the final and most crucial piece of the puzzle, the why. Let's move to our last section and really look at what name-calling is designed to achieve. Okay, here's the bottom line. A label does 4 things, and it does them very, very well. 1, it explains absolutely nothing about the actual issue. 2, it instantly signals who's in your tribe and who's the enemy. 3, it is designed to shut down, not open up any real discussion. And 4, and this is the most insidious part, for the person using it, it feels like a sharp insight, like a really clever takedown, when in reality, it's just a lazy shortcut. And all of this leaves us with one last really important question. The real power of name-calling is its emotional punch. It's built to make you feel fear or anger or disgust, specifically to get around your critical thinking. So the next time you see a label being thrown around, just stop and ask yourself, what is this word trying to make me feel, and why? Answering that is the first step to taking away its power.